How would you actually like to hear a little bit of good news about the homeless situation in Seattle? Because what we know is that powerful news special by Eric Johnson amplifying everything that you've heard on this show for years about the homeless situation, behind the PR campaigns, behind the silly government rhetoric, came through. Yes, heroin is de facto legal in the city of Seattle as long as you have less than 30 doses on you. Police are told, don't arrest anyone for that amount of heroin. We won't prosecute it, which means it's legal. And everyone knows it who uses heroin, so it's now legal. And as I have told you about, and as Eric illustrated on the show, there are well over 100 homeless street vagrants who have over 35 contacts on average with the police, 35 criminal cases, and they're just turned right back out on the streets time after time because Pete Holmes will not prosecute them. That documentary has landed with immense force and impact. And you've got much of the Seattle city establishment essentially hiding under their desks. They know they don't have a rebuttal. They even hired a PR firm to try and get a rebuttal campaign going. It's going nowhere. But there is some good news happening. I told you about the businesses that have banded together to raise money for Mary's Place. So instead of focusing on aiding and abetting heroin addiction homelessness among men, they've got shelters for women with children. Not a bad idea. There's also a group called Unified Seattle that is banded together to clean up homeless camps. And some of the people involved with Unified Seattle are homeless men who are now working to clean up the problem they once contributed to. I kid you not. We're going to talk to one of them right now. Xeiley Canini lived in these homeless camps here and in Indiana. Joins me on the Genuine Auto Glass studio line here, Talk Radio 570 KVI. Xeiley, it's good to have you on the program. Thank you for making the time.
Hi, it's good to be here.
All right. By the way, I want to remind our listeners, if you are entering the contest to win $2,000 in the drawing at 4:30 this afternoon, again, all you have to do to enter is text a word. The word is soccer, SOCCER. Text it to 51200. And you are entered into the contest. You still have 9 minutes to text that word soccer, SOCCER, to 51200. Xeiley, just how pathetic was your situation before you got clean?
Well, my situation, I was living in certain encampments. That was part of my story, as well as couch surfing and just living out of a van. That was another part. And it was really me and my family. We were all living in those situations together. This is when I was between the ages of 4 to 18.
Oh, boy. Okay. So basically, you're second-generation homeless.
Yeah. My mom and dad, they were both, sort of Rolling Stone hippies. And then my mom left my dad because, for reasonable reasons. And as a result, where did we go? But we didn't have anywhere else to go besides shelters and the van. You know,
usually it is the woman in those relationships after a while who says, this whole commune, drugs are cool, lifestyle. This really isn't working for the long term. So,
right.
So she gets out of it. He's still stuck in it. Okay, that brings us to you. What brought you out to Seattle, and how did you get out of this lifestyle, Xeiley?
Yeah, so to back it up a second, we were traveling basically up and down the Pacific coast. California and Oregon were our main hangout places. And we came up to Seattle specifically because we knew how well homeless people were treated, basically. It's really easy to be homeless up here. So we came up here, and it's not only us. We know people from Idaho, from Arizona, from Utah,
What
all
year?
coming here.
Okay.
Oh, what year?
Yeah.
This is when I was much more involved, much more homeless. It was when I was 17.
Yeah, but about what year?
Okay, so that's 7 years, 2011.
Okay, so about 2011, the word was out. People all over the western United States, Seattle is the place to go.
Yep, yeah, and far before then too. My mom said when she was 14 that she was that was just known, and she's 40 right now. So do the math.
Yeah, since the 90s, this has been the place to go. Okay, at least since the 90s. All right. So, what took you out of that, and what brought you into this organization, Unified Seattle?
Yeah, so a series of steps, I would say. Part of it was my own just a lack of desire to continue that lifestyle. And then also I was given a couple of hands up by some really generous, great people, including in my current situation. I have a boss who was just really helpful in helping me to maintain a non-homeless lifestyle. And then also part of it, again, was just I don't want to do that my whole life. Right, and then so what brought me into this current situation with Unified Seattle, where I'm able to actually help, I was working on the injection sites with this person named Veronica. And we were just going around and talking at city council meetings. And
in favor or against?
Against.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we realized that it's not the heroin problem is part of the problem, but that's not the root problem. A lot of the root problem is that the people who are doing heroin are a lot of times homeless. And so we started doing research into the homeless issue, and that including with my own experiences, it just led us to focus a lot more on the organization called Unified Seattle.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to break real quickly. When we come back, we'll have a couple of minutes. I want you to tell our listeners all about Unified Seattle, because what I've heard about this organization is really impressive, and I want them to hear it from you, the difference that an organization like this can make. Hold on one second. Xeiley Canini, himself formerly homeless, and his folks formerly homeless, on the John Carlson Show. Our sponsor this portion of the program is Best Mortgage. We are continuing our conversation with Xeiley Canini. Mr. Canini was brought up in a homeless family and was himself a homeless. They migrated to Seattle. He said the word has been out for a long time that Seattle is the place to go if you're homeless. They make it easy to be homeless here. And he was, until he decided he was tired of his with that lifestyle, tired of where it was leading him, decided to make a change. Xeiley, I want you to tell us about this group, Unified Seattle, how you got into it and what it does.
Yeah, so I was explaining earlier about how I did get into it. It's been an organization from before I got into it, but what they focus on is just trying to put forth ideas that will actually work and detract from ideas that won't work. And we partner with a lot of other organizations. One specifically is a Hands Up project, which we're honored to work with. They are also an ex-addict organization where there's one guy, he was an addict and he went and got clean. Then he saw other addicts and just said, I want to help them.
Tell you what, if people want to contact them, how do they do so?
You can go to unifedseattle.org, one word.
Unifedseattle.org, unifedseattle.org. I want people to do that. I want you to join us again in the future on the show. Tell us how things are going for you. All right, Mr. Canini, thanks for joining us here on The Commute with Carlson.